G'day, ladies and gentlemen. How are we going? Sorry, just had a little window pop up while I was about to go and put myself in the room. Didn't happen. Sips, ladies and gentlemen. I must say the sipping beverages are getting quite low in this house. It's yeah, finances aren't the best, that's for sure. So anything anyone can do to help out, it'd be greatly appreciated. Contact me at NQ Freedom Network at protonmail.com if you want to chip in. Just quickly, the Gaia trial thing, apparently it's been going for quite some time. I somehow missed it, probably with the chaos of Christmas and whatnot. But it's half price at the moment if you use the link in the description. I just updated the link. It will only work with the link that I've just put in. If you're having trouble getting that, please let me know. Obviously, the email suggested before is the way to do that. It's only available till the end of this month. So 31st of March 2026, that offer has expired. They've kept extending it because it's been quite successful. Half price. Come on, jump in, ladies and gentlemen. And that's helping me as well. So you're helping yourself, you're helping me, and you're getting access to some pretty out there information. How much of it's true, who knows? You've got to dive in and have a look and figure these things out for yourself. Sometimes I look at the content on Gaia and I think, I can't help but feel that's one hell that's been intentionally put there to distract us away from what's really going on, and you got to kind of feel your way through any form of information, really, in that same regard, do I feel that this is right, and of course, really feel into it. Don't just go with what you think, because you've seen it in the fucking newspaper. Of course not. But anyway, you guys get the point. There's a whole bunch of stuff in the comments that you can help us out with if you feel the need. Otherwise, you can just drop me a line and help us out that way. That'd be really good because, no work coming through. One phone call, I think, in Struth about two years from a random, inquiring about whether, video services are available. Well, got nothing else to do at the moment. Sips. Things are a bit hard. I find a way if I can. So yeah, if you need something done, let me know, especially special effects and cartoon wise. Did you batten down the hatches? Oh, look, man, we're far enough south for it to not really affect us as far as the weather goes. I did see somebody saying something about battening down the hatches. Obviously the mainstream media only ever show you the chaos. They don't show you the bits where people are not in any fucking trouble. I'm not sure what's going on up north. I haven't had a chance to really look. I can't imagine they had a lot of fun right up there at the Cape because, that cyclone come barreling through. We're going to have a quick look, though. I hope I saved that file to the right spot. For the sake of it, seeing as it's been brought up, why not start with the weather? We'll no doubt come full circle, come back around to it. But let's bring it in now. Screen share. Okay. Now, I'm going to bring it up. G'day, Jake. How are you, buddy? As you can see, it's come through this morning from this side to this side. It doesn't look like a lot of ground, but it's actually covered quite a bit of ground. It come in just a little bit lower than originally anticipated, but I can't imagine this mob up here having much fun at the moment. It was suggested to me that perhaps by some people of a more earthly persuasion, perhaps even an Australian not land-based knowledge, that perhaps there's a bit of mining resources up there and they just wanted to send something barreling through. But at the same time, you think, well, cyclones are common this time of year up here. It's nothing really, too full on, but the way it was so straight across, wow. So anyway, as you can see, there's the weather. Good old Townsville, as usual. It's avoiding Townsville. So, Tully obviously is not having much fun. Their crops are getting one hell of a watering up there. Hope you like sugar. So anyway, it's we'll see what happens over time. Of course, they're predicting that it'll head out this way and then come barreling through the top end here and continue to barrel through all the way out the other end. So it's one hell of a cyclone with a shitload of force behind it. Obviously going to pay to go any further. as far as it wants to tell us now up until Wednesday next week. I mean, personally, why would I pay for future predictions? I think it was a small miracle they managed to, predict that there was going to hit up this end, to be honest. When it comes to weather prediction, it must be one hell of a task. You spend, I don't know how long perfecting the science only for other scientists to come along, figure out new ways to fuck with the weather. So go figure. Well, anyway, so that's where we're at. It's really nothing too much for us at the moment, and I don't think it will be any further. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We don't need that anymore anyway. All right, let's get this back to where we were at. Okay, now, so I suppose we should probably start where we usually start, with a good old meme world. Although meme world is not as funny as it used to be because everybody's really, really pissed off. Can anybody venture a guess as to why? It's a bit of a mystery sometimes, I think. It must be really hard for, especially those who live in that fictional reality where everything's okay and the government still loves me, and vaccines are not killing people. Those kind of fantasy-based kind of people, the kind of people who play fantasy football but with reality. It's a one hell of a conundrum for me to try and figure out how people continue their day-to-day lives ignoring fucking reality. But anyway, it is what it is. So let's share screen. Let's start with the good old ALBO Labor crap. So Labor concocts tax break for trans lobby group. The Albanese government is rushing through Parliament a massive tax benefit to trans lobby group Equality Australia, in defiance of a ruling by the courts that it is a political advocacy organisation not entitled to register as a public benevolent institution. Yeah, I think it's pretty hard to consider it a public benevolent institution in any way, shape, or form. Like, again, here's that fantasy reality that we were just talking about. I do not comprehend how you possibly think that trans activism is somehow helping humanity. It is doing no such thing. It is an utter joke. And again, it's now moving into the realm of religious extremism, isn't it? Because now they want the same benefits as religions. Personally, I think we could scrap the whole lot, start making religions pay their fair share. Let's face it, they're not going broke anytime soon, are they? Go and have a look at the Vatican. The guy's sitting on a fucking gold throne, for fuck's sake. I think he can afford a few tax dollars, hey? Seems they've got some pretty prime real estate going on. Maybe it's time they start paying their fair share, eh, Sips? Especially, you might be, but, not my religion, but I mean, it covers all the religions. And let's face it, there's probably more religions you don't like than the one that you do. Just a thought, So, I mean, the greater good of mankind, hey? Just a thought. Anyway, ALBO, what happened to the most trusted mate? Your most trusted mate, Mr. Richardson. Thought you said he was the top bloke for the Royal Commission on Bondi. Wow, he quit. He says he was grossly overpaid, apparently. Over $5,000 a day. Wow. I wish somebody would give me $5,000 a day. Also mentioned issues with rules around the sensitive information. I wonder why. Sounds a bit like he wasn't given the freedom to investigate properly. That seems like a reasonable assumption. Sounds a bit like a pocket full of cash would hopefully smooth that issue over. Sounds very dodgy, ALBO. Time to wake up, Australia. This guy is one of the biggest criminals. He's currently the CEO of one of the largest criminal syndicates in this country. Let's face it. It's more than obvious at this point. Bondi massacre was not motivated by religion. Let's just remember that, okay? I mean, of course, religion couldn't possibly be any of the things they're attempting to cover up in any way, shape, or form. So if it wasn't religion, then what was it? That's the big question I have for Madam Showy Pants here. Let's face it, she's just there to be a face. Probably done all the right dodgy things on the way up to the top to be, adequately controlled as well. As they all are, let's face it, you don't get into positions of power in any way, shape, or form unless you're an absolute piece of shit and willing to sell your fellow man out. As we've seen, many a time, anyone who's half decent gets fucking absolutely assaulted and attacked. And straight, when it comes to people like Trump, you got to wonder if that was all part of the plan. Have they upped their game of deception? Might be one of the big questions we have to ask because, the faith in Trump is fucking plummeting, that's for sure. You know, any hope one might have had went out the window with recent events. But that's the big question. You're so good, you have the answer, you know what it's not so confidently, then you should know what it is then. Please tell us. Let us know. Come on, figure it out. Australia's fuel problem caused by conspiracy theorists, hoarders, and anti-vaxxers. Fucking hell, streets. Okay, wow. How the hell is a fuel problem a conspiracy theory when we can see the price of petrol? Have a look at it. Have a look at that. That's a far-right conspiracy theory. I didn't fucking put that on the billboard. I'm not. Does anybody know anybody going around putting fake prices up on the what do you call it? Those fuel thingies, you know? You know what I'm talking about. I can't believe I can't think of the word. But anyway, the big signs out front of petrol stations that say, hey, this is how much we're fucking you this week, you know? But the hoarders, I wonder why that's happening. Is it because every time you turn a fucking news, anything to do with news or mainstream media or even social media, it's all about panic. We're seeing the toilet paper fiasco, but this time it's actually something that will affect you. And of course, anti-vaxxers. Oh yes, don't get your jab because it'll bring petrol prices up. Yeah, there's some of the dumbest things I've fucking ever heard. Yep. Only Albo and his left-hard fuckwits could come up with such a ridiculous attempt to be divisive and pass the blame. Push it over, blame someone else. Typical political bullshit. Is anyone actually still stupid enough to believe that kind of crap? Sips. And you see Albo got escorted out of the mosque. Yeah, don't worry. We're coming to that. Don't worry. It's on the list of things. Wow, look at all the comments today. Okay, cool. You guys are on fire. All right. More pain for Aussies as RBA raises interest rates. Yep, here we go again. Bend over. If you're not getting fucked at the petrol pump hard enough, don't worry. The banks are in to get their cut too. Yep. And again, every time we see this, the big question remains, what's the government doing about it? Fuck all. Why? Because they're not the ones in power. The banks are controlling them, you know? As it's been stated by many a politician, I think the most recent one was former Senator Rennick, when he basically said he was asking the banks about, you know, where gold and where's the money, where's the receipts, what's going on? And he was told, you're just a politician. We don't have to answer you. So who's running the show here? It's not the fucking politicians, is it? Government doesn't work for you. That's the title there. The governments don't work for you. Doesn't matter what country you're in. They work for the money. Speaking of people who work for the money, good old Flappy ears here. I know nothing. Wow. That's one hell of a statement. You'd like to think so, but I think he knows where a lot of dead bodies are. You know, just a thought. You know, he probably knows where a lot of evidence is too, particularly to his own personal crimes. You know, he knows where the numbers for the "please get me out of fucking jail, I just hit a kid on a bike" is. He knows some things. Let's be fair. You know, and I can see why Jacinta settled the COVID hotel quarantine class action out of court. Oh no, another one of those moments where justice has not prevailed. Oh, it's just so long as you throw enough money at it outside of court, justice can sidestep, because the last thing we want is a hell of a lot more people coming through with a precedent. Like, if any way, shape, or form you've been inconvenienced by the hotel quarantine in any part of this country, we now know if you put enough pressure on them, they'll throw a big bag of money to go away. Let's fund the freedom movement, shall we? Just a thought. So the Premier's office ties to quarantine records. The Premier's office is fighting to keep hundreds of documents from Daniel Andrews' time in office secret in a legal case with ramifications for government transparency. Is anyone shocked? Like, I mean, it's only his basic MO, you know? Lawyers for Premier Jacinta Allen are arguing in the Victorian Civil and Administrative Tribunal that the documents relating to the fatally bungled hotel quarantine program can no longer be accessed under Freedom of Information laws. Wow, nothing like a bit of freedom of information. Wow, following Mr. Andrews' resignation in September. So somebody was saying, we was talking about this. I think it was Harps actually, and like seriously, Jacinda has probably got a harder job than this fuckwit. He totally fucked everything, and that poor bitch has been left to clean it up. She's just there. She is the fall girl. Dan made her the fall girl. Like, and this is the kind of sick fuckery that is what our world is. Like it is every piece of shit for themselves. It really is. He doesn't care about her any more than she cares about him. It's just about following the suit. She'll go down just as hard, no doubt. She's got just as much to lose, I reckon, as he does. So that's why she's protecting it. And it's not just that; it's all the other crimes that they've committed too. This is a criminal syndicate, not a political party. Although I'm starting to think perhaps maybe we just need to redefine the term political party to mean criminal syndicate. That might be a better way to deal with this. We could get we'll get to the chase a lot quicker. People understand better when you say political party, they instantly know that you mean criminal syndicate. And we can save a lot of time in conversation having to explain things. I think it'd be a great benefit to mankind. That's just a thought, The case centers around 2021 Freedom of Information request by Liberal MP David Davis. So here's a guy who's actually in Parliament who can't get information. That is fucking hilarious. Unless, of course, that's part of the show, which is a distinct possibility as well between the former Premier's chief staff, Lizzie. He might even have access to this fucking information, but he's not allowed to share it until he's been given the proper authority, because let's face it, government isn't the proper authority, is it? Do we really need to get into this any further? This is a blatant attempt to defeat the Freedom of Information Act by dragging it into long distance. Yes, of course, legal lawfare, as we know, legal lawfare. And then novel argument that because he's no longer the Premier, he no longer has access to documents from his time period as Premier. You've got to be shitting me. Somebody does. Get fucked. Like the subterfuge and the dodging and weaving, like that's the only thing these guys are really good at, the political trench warfare of just fucking duck and weave. Nothing ever goes anywhere. It is like that World War I trench warfare that was supposed to be a stalemate until the Balfour Declaration made it an onslaught that brought forth the creation of Israel, of course. Who funded it? Banks again. What was that thing that happened in 1913? Oh, that's right. All the banking acts went through Western society. Funny that, isn't it? The coincidences, it's everywhere. We can see banks, but who's behind the banks? There's another question again. As a little picture I did, you see the layers, and then there's the big shadowy demon-y figure. What the fuck is it? Who is it? That's the big question. But I'm sure some people can figure it out. Dan's secrets fight. Exclusive Premier's lawyers seek to keep Andrew's correspondence on deadly hotel quarantine program under wraps. It's interesting now they're willing to call it a deadly hotel quarantine program. Again, the conspiracy theorists seem to have been correct yet again. It's not. It only took the mainstream media 6 fucking years to catch up. You fucking wankers. Talk about behind the times. Street. Maybe I should start an Orwellian novel of some sort, apparently the ability to predict the future isn't that fucking hard. Even I can do it. Sips. Astounding. So, some more of Albo's fine work. Wants to make bombs. Well, that fiasco continues. We'll get to more of that later. Australia definitely needs this. Wales moves to criminalise political lies as 6 nations consider similar measures to hold politicians accountable. I think we need more than that. Criminalising their lies is one thing, but what's the penalty? Personally, I think death is a good option. It might keep them honest if their fucking heads are on the chopping block. They might actually start serving people for a change. But is it a bit severe? Because, dead man can't learn no lessons. But some of these people may be incapable of actually learning the basics of decent humanity. And it got me thinking, I was watching, the kids play, 4 and 2. So you can imagine the social skills of a 4 and a 2-year-old are, about as apt as a standard politician. And it really got me thinking, because I could see the selfishness. I want this, I want that, me. And you see the same thing being played out on a world stage. We see the same thing from our political leaders. We've seen the same thing with this whole war on Iran, me. Israel going me. Trump, me. It's all about me. And I just thought we really are watching children at play here. The difference is I can help a 4 and a 2-year-old. I don't know that these guys can be helped. Wait, so nothing happened to those who refused to take COVID-19 vaccine? Still, the mystery question of the fuckwit who still can't accept reality. Another theme of the day. What is wrong with these people? Now, not that I have much faith in Trump, but I did find the concept funny. Should Trump cure cancer? And fuck, I'm not holding my breath. I have the right to die from cancer, says the leftard. Curing cancer is racist. And this is just exactly the kind of logic you expect, like people who just hate the politicians so much that they can't see that they actually might have done something good for a change. We want our cancer back. Okay, cool. I propose we give it to that guy. I mean, it's what he wants. Cancer cells matter. Yep. I think we've really summed up the leftard quite well. Unfortunately, this kind of mentality is not specific to the leftard. It is open to all morons who cannot see past their own spite. Sips. All right. So why do they want everybody's guns? Because they're planning to kill us and they don't want to get shot. Pretty simple, straightforward. It's really not that hard. But of course, the same fuckwits in this category trying to tell us that guns kill people and it's horrible. Because they're worried when they march down the street carrying on like fuckwits, stark naked. That they might get shot as well. Anyway, Australia must produce its own fuel again. If you agree, we can't share this video, share this whole podcast. I'll let everybody know, because why the fuck we, as one of the most rich nations as far as resources go, is in a fuel crisis, is another example of just how retarded our politicians are and how they do not give a fuck about us, and they're clearly not serving us, because Australia being a self-sufficient country would have to be the easiest fucking thing in the world to master. We don't need the world. The world needs us. It's that simple. So I think we need to start acting like that. Statues of old white men like the Duke of Wellington and Admiral Lord Nelson could be destroyed because they may be offensive. Maybe. They may be. He's Mayday. They danced around the maypole. Fucking, Hitler's with elbow and the communist regime of Russia. They're all dancing around the maypole. Mayday. It's offensive to diversive modern public. Well, I've got a solution. If you find it offensive, fuck off. Migrant who beheaded his victim and caused his intestines to spill out while still alive could avoid deportation from Germany because he will probably just come back from Somalia. Anybody got a solution? I can think of one. It's pretty simple. I can think 2, 3. I can think of a few, actually. Quite a few. You could at least try deportation and make his life a bit harder. You could perhaps give him a taste of his own medicine. Apparently the eye for an eye religions are the big ones at the moment. That Israeli and let's look at the Old Testament. Everything was eye for an eye, fire and brimstone. So if they're pulling the strings, then I guess that's a good solution. And let's face it, Islam seems to have the same sort of attitude to people they don't like, beheadings and whatnot. We're just being multicultural, aren't we? If we behead the guy, 2 out of 3 of the major fucking religions seem to think it's okay. So anyway, I seen this image and I just thought to myself, ladies, which one do you want to be? One on the left or one on the right? Just a thought. I'm curious, ladies. Are you willing to accept the image on the right as your future? Is that what you want? Are you happy to keep quiet about everything that's going on in the world till that happens to you? I'm not going to keep quiet and let that happen to my daughter or any of the other ladies in my life that I care about. I think it's time for that religion to be gone, or at least seriously brought in. But of course, we do have the problem of the Constitution. It says you have the right to freely worship your religion. Perhaps we shouldn't let certain religions in, or redefine what we need a definition of what religion is. And I personally think any religion that needs to go stabby, 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 pray, 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 and prevents its people from eating until the priests, or whatever the fuck word you want to call these bastards, the kind of people that Jesus kicked the table over on, that shit needs to go. Seriously, you're going to starve your own people unless one of their mob gets to pray over it and go stabby, stabby, stabby. It's an act of animal cruelty in a lot of cases, both those religions. It's horrible. So I personally think that kind of practice should be outlawed, and under no circumstances, should people be dictating how, what, where, and why you can eat. Because that's a pretty dominating, controlling, horrible thing to do when you think about it. And let's face it, religion is a control system. And let's face it, how do we control them? Wow, they're not even allowed to eat unless somebody above them in their little religious world allows them to. You ever seen that trick where people put the fucking food on the dog's nose and it has to sit there and look at it, waiting till the master says, "Welcome to religion." Rolls-Royce scraps electric car target as drivers prefer V12 engines. Well, I suppose if they can afford a Rolls-Royce, they can afford the fucking petrol V12, I guess. What kind of a person has that much fucking money and is interested in power? And let's face it, that's the kind of mentality that generally goes with the greedy elitist scum. You don't get rich by being nice, do you? You don't get rich by going, hey, I fucking give a fuck about my fellow man, or I give a fuck about the environment. No, these are people who are me, 2 and 4-year-olds, right? That just never grew up. They were never taught right from wrong. They don't understand compassion and empathy and care for anything. They don't give a shit. Me. These are selfish, greedy pieces of shit. The world is run by the most greedy, selfish, evil cunts you've ever seen. So, the question of the century, who should speak for humanity if aliens visit Earth? Personally, I wouldn't fucking piss on any of these people to put out a fire. I maintain my own personal sovereignty. And I'll speak for myself. I certainly don't want any of these fucking yahoos fucking speaking for me. That's that simple. Very straightforward. Anyone disagree? Please let me know. Muslim business owners say they are now preparing to shut down their US businesses and leave the country if they continue to be attacked by Islamophobia. If that's all it takes, wow. We could solve a lot of the Western world problems, but I haven't been able to find anything. I didn't spend a lot of time. I don't know. Maybe somebody else can send me a link and let me know. Make sure it gets starred if that happens, please. Lovely people out there. Let me know if you can find a link that proves this. All I seen was a bunch of X and Facebook posts at first glance. I was running out of time to track this one, but I thought it was a valid question. If that's all it takes to have Islam removed from your country, then we've got a simple solution to a lot of our problems, don't we? And we could solve a lot of other problems by continuing the same, no, fuck you, get out of our country, we've had a gutful of you. White people will literally choose a dog over a refugee in a heartbeat. Anyone disagree? I don't think it's just white people. I think people in their own nations have had enough of freeloading terrorists. Just the thought. And personally, I still don't understand why you would bomb the fuck out of their country and then say, hey, come over here, you can live in ours. That is fucking retarded. Simply, just don't bomb their country. Leave them alone. And unless they become a threat. If they've become a threat which warrants you bombing them, then why the fuck are you bringing them in? Seriously? That's fucking retarded. That makes no fucking sense. Shakespeare's birthplace to be decolonized over fears his success benefits the ideology of white European supremacy. Really? They're not even sure. Well, there's a lot of speculation whether Shakespeare even wrote his shit or not. I mean, I've seen a lot of questions. Again, Gaia Network's a good place to have a look at some of that stuff. Apparently, the guy was most likely fucking illiterate. But, personally, I think if you're going to bring his statue down, let's bring it down for the fact that he didn't write that shit. And it's a lie, like so many other things in our histories, like Grimm's fairy tales. The Grimms didn't fucking write them; they fucking collected them. At best, Shakespeare may have collected them from other places, but it seems more likely that they was written for him for political manipulative purposes. That's how far back this kind of thinking goes. Wow, this is a good one. Labor against war, whilst they basically facilitate a civil war in our own country. But according to these fuckwits, Brunswick is the largest ALP branch in Victoria and has passed the Labor against war motion, opposing the war on Iran and calls for Australian military forces to be withdrawn from the Gulf. Thanks to comrades. Thanks to the comrades. They've openly admitted, yep, they're fucking commies, right? Not to mention that let's face it, it's probably so full of leftist migrants that, I don't even know what Brunswick looks like. I didn't like the place when I left. It was a shithole back then. But anyway, that's their thing. I thought it was very important that they said comrades, but it gets better. See here, no war on Iran. I can agree with that. No to AUKUS. Okay, motion passed. That's wonderful. And it's just one little shithole in Victoria has said this, and they think it's important. But no Australian troops for Trump's wars? You've got to be shitting me. Are you that fucking blind, or are you just really worried about the funding of the Labor Party and you don't want to point to the fact that Israel has done this? Trump has been saying forever he's the biggest friend of fucking Israel. We all seen this coming to a degree. I'd kind of hope that, he could, there was a little bit more power play there, but no, apparently Trump is just a limp-wristed puppet to Israel as well. Hey, it's the money, isn't it? It's all about the money, and again, the Israeli government, it's not the Jewish people, and I don't even think you could say that it's of Jewish descent in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to go with Khazarian mafia here. I'm going to go with the evil that's behind it. Imagine what you think that is. We don't really have a great deal of evidence to support the shadow people, but much like a black hole, you can see its effects. We can't really see the black hole itself, but we can see the darkness of evil drawing all these good things in and destroying it. Just an observational point. So, okay, speaking of insane, Liz here has pointed out, insane 2011, Epstein designs vaccine instrument funded by Bill Gates. 2015, the Rothschilds recommend policies to every government. 2017, Epstein edits Bill Gates' private pandemic simulation. 2019, pandemic happens. The pandemic was planned years ago by diabolical criminals with a lot of money. Follow the money. So, and of course, she did post this alongside it. The Epstein president, South Trust, Jeffrey Epstein, president of the South Trust Company. So that's interesting. He's president of a trust. You, on behalf of Southern Trust Company, Virgin Islands Corporation, have been collaborating with Ariane de Rothschild. Ariane de Rothschild. So there you go. Good old Rothschilds are at it again. On behalf of Edmund de Rothschild, holding SA, collectively the Rothschilds Group. Now, who was involved in the Balfour Declaration, the creation of Israel in the first place? Yep, this ugly bugger. His family. Again, an openly Zionist. And for those who don't believe me, go ahead and have a look at the. I might even be able to bring it up for you later. I think I've got a clip of it somewhere, where he openly admits that it was a remarkable piece of opportunism to manipulate World War I to create the Israeli nation. Interesting, isn't it? And again, I was having this conversation with my son the other day, because amazingly, World War II is happening in their school at the moment. Isn't that convenient? So, of course, It's the typical rhetoric. He comes back with, oh, they told me this, they told me that. I'm like, well, now let's get to the fucking crux of this. According to the Bible itself, Yahweh picks them up out of Egypt. They were slaves. There's no mention of their before. Really, they were just fucking slaves, you know. Other than the Garden of Eden, which is another big interesting concept unto itself. Some people seem to think it's in Iraq or even Iran or those regions. But anyway, that aside, then once freeing them, makes them walk around for 40 fucking years, gathering up some sort of an army, because it seems to mention a lot of military campaigns in that book too, to charge in, take the land, and call it Israel. Interesting, isn't it? History repeating itself. So anyway, let's get to the point here. The work, they're funding the work. What the work shall provide the work as following specified and agreed to between Jeffrey Epstein and Irene de Rothschild from the time to time while this agreement remains in effect. Fees and expenses in consideration for the work. The Rothschild Group shall pay the following to STC for work specifically relating to outstanding matters between Edmund de Rothschild Holding SA and the United States, $25 million. Payment shall be made by the Rothschild Group by no later than 3 days. That's pretty good. 3 days, eh? They don't fuck around, I mean, just try and get an insurance claim going through. But hey, who runs that as well? Money, money, money. It just keeps getting better, right? And of course, in case you're worried, wondering, preparing for pandemics, Rothschild, 2015, it just keeps, Epstein, same thing, Rothschild, Epstein, Zionism, they're all connected. It's Mossad. His game is control, So after all this, what do you call it when somebody hears the truth, sees the truth, but still believes the lies? I'm open to suggestions. Seriously, what do you call these people? Like it's one thing to have no idea, be confronted by the truth, be shocked and go, oh my God, I had no idea. And it's like, cool, no worries. You had no idea. It's fair enough. Nobody told you. They've done a great job with the smoke and mirrors and all the bullshit. But you've been shown now. It's so fucking obvious. How do you not see it? You may not be willing to go to the nth degree of exactly what evil is pushing all these fucking things behind the scenes, the game of chess that has been the planet Earth, the experiment is a word that gets around, alien ant farms, another fucking word to get concept that gets around. I don't know that any of these words or terminologies really fucking get to mind controlled NPC, a voter. I like it. NPC, beautiful. Keep them coming. Love it. Love it. Sips, you. Fuckwits. Yep, nice. Anyway, so some more of the wonderful work in Western society here. A UK woman loses her jail term appeal after killing a man as he sexually assaulted her. So she killed him in self-defense. God knows how far this is going with these kind of people these days. As far as I'm concerned, she had every fucking right to defend herself, and so she should. Another reason why people should be armed, really, is to defend themselves against this kind of fucking shit. But she was sentenced in 2018 to 17 years in prison for fighting back against this piece of shit. She should have been given a fucking medal, not fucking put in jail. Good old England, it's that bad that they'd rather protect vile rapist fuckwits with a primitive fucking religion than fucking, support their own people. Disgraceful. Fucking disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. Of course, there's more on it if you wish to read it. Personally, it pisses me off too much. I'm not going down that path. I personally would rather, the judge, I think, she possibly belongs next to the guy in the car park myself, but that's just a thought. Anyone who would sentence an 18-year-old girl to 17 years prison for defending herself. What a piece of shit. Yep, exactly. You're right, Jake. That's exactly the message. Lie down and take it while we fuck you. Exactly. That's exactly what the system is telling us. I couldn't have said it better. Well done. Thank you for that. So, of course, here's some more of the side effects from some vaccines. I don't even know what half these fucking words are, but they don't look very good. Infections, meningitis, measles, pneumonia, respiratory infection. Wow. Aren't they supposed to protect us against that? I mean, this is ridiculous. Look at it all. And so what happens if I don't take it? Oh, I'll be just as good as I was yesterday. Yeah, no worries. I wonder what I'll fucking do. Fuck that shit. What? Look at this shit. How is this allowed into, people's bodies? What kind of a sick world do we live in where it's okay for this to happen? Influenza. I wonder if it's an influenza jab. I mean, it's got that many things that it could cause. I don't know what they're trying to cure. I mean, herpes? Fucking look at all this shit. Bronchitis? Fucking the vaccine virus, the Oka Merck strain contained in Proquad may establish latency of Bacillia zoster virus in immune competent individuals. What the fuck? What is the point? Why would you take this shit? Seriously, wouldn't touch any of them ever again. None of it. Now, this is 2025. I'm just going to sort of put that there. I might put it there for now. So this is 2025. One of these volcanoes in 2 seconds does more than the entire human race does in a year. All right. At this particular time, there's 29 of those volcanoes spewing out for a hell of a lot longer than 2 fucking seconds. So there's your big carbon myth fucking destroyed. But on that note, volcano activity today. Yep, there's a few. We'll come to that in a minute. We'll just get through these fucking memes. Not that they're memes, it's more reality than meme these days. Like I said, I'm sorry, it's not very funny anymore because, they've managed to take all the joy and happiness out of the world. Thanks, bankers. Thanks, elitist scum. Thanks, vile demons. Government, you have to inspect your car once a year for emissions, but this is also from the government. Yep. I mean, if the leftards really thought about it, and they clearly don't, they're not intelligent enough, but maybe they'll take some notes because I know they watch this for various purposes, mostly nefarious. But, this is Israel is polluting the world with war. Israel and Trump in unison are polluting the world with war. All their favorite people are doing it. So why not just point out, there's your climate alarmism, just point at war. But they don't want to do that now, do they? Because the war machine is another one of the big money machines. Notice the way Liberal and Labor never point to the real issue. They always sidestep and pick away at the fucking, the debris. They're never looking at the blast site. What a better way to end this than with a reality here? Socialism, you have 2 cows, the government takes one. Communism, you have 2 cows. The government takes both and gives you a ration of milk. Capitalism, you have 2 cows, sell one, buy a bull, and build a herd. Labor, you have 2 cows. The government takes both, drinks the milk, eats the meat, takes the pay, makes you pay the bill, and then blames you when there's nothing left. But it's not just Labor. Obviously, this is going towards the UK version. We take the U out here for Australia. Fuck knows why. They probably need to, maybe the original communists were so dumb they couldn't spell the word Labor with the proper English. But let's face it, they probably just needed their own ridiculous identity because there's no our in our Labor. It's only all. So anyway, at the end of the day, I think we can pretty much put this in the category of all government. This last section, this is government today. They take everything and then bill you for it and have the audacity to say it's your fault that they can't fucking dine on steak anymore. Eat the bugs. Wonderful stuff. Sips, ladies and gentlemen. So, all right, let's get that down. Let's come back to that volcano point, shall we? So, all the volcanoes that are going on at the moment. Yep. Aren't you glad that you are not allowed to, have petrol-driven cars? Look at them all. Have a look at them all. That's just, read more. 2000, look at them all. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think there's a few there. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Well, the Pacific Ring of Fire. I've actually lost count. That's a shitload. That is a lot of fucking volcanoes. A lot of volcanoes. That's a hell of a lot more now than there was back then. Isn't that interesting? Fuckloads of volcanoes going nuts, throwing all that carbon into the atmosphere. Oh no, sky is falling. Sky is falling. Oh, what a world, what a world, oh, what a world. So good old Albo. Here he is, happily boasting about what a complete piece of shit he is. Well, it didn't work out very well for him, because after he was done posing with the few fucking idiots dumb enough to actually shake his hand and consider him some kind of a friend, well, maybe they just act a little bit more humane in their little fucking, den of evil. Let's have a look at what they actually did. Oh, yeah, so here's a wonderful picture. We'll start with him. Well done. I did see that fucking, was it Ralph Babette, Senator Ralph Babette, invited him to church on Sunday. $10 says he doesn't show. Won't be going to any Christian churches. No, because those aren't his voters. No, we know who his voters are, don't we? But how much did his voters appreciate him? That's the big one. How much did they love the old Alpoo, the Alpoo memesy, the vile villain of Australia? This is how much they fucking loved him. Oh, wrong one. That one.
Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you!
It must be hard being popular.
We never get quiet on him.
Why are you protecting him?
Putrid dog! Get out of here, mate. Get out of here.
Yeah, do you reckon they're going to vote him in? They both sides, they'll vote.
The dramatic rise in funding attacks. In essence, we have been unable to better lobby and advocate to government in regards to policy and legislation that directly impacts our community.
Get him out of here!
We, as Australian Muslims,
Get him out of here! He's right!
this is a fight.
Respect us! Get him out of here! You got to respect his out! You're disrespectful! Sit down and Australian apologise. It's his government. But we won't start its time. Don't bring him here. It's not the time. It's not the time. It's his government. It's his government that called them when they were paying. We don't want politicians, Baba. We're here to hate you. Let's hate you. We're praying. Why do we got politicians? Leave politics outside. Yeah.
Good old Albo. He's just fucking popular no matter where he goes, isn't he? I mean, could you imagine being this fucking useless? But it gets better. The uselessness, the utter complete uselessness of the biggest knob jockey in Australian political history gets better. We've seen it.
About him. Is that the Prime Minister?
Prime Minister.
What's the Prime Minister doing on the field?
Oh,
if he's going to make this moment about him,
that is him, isn't it?
what's the Prime Minister doing on the field? Well, he's out there waving.
No.
Well, he's out there waving.
No,
what is
kidding.
he? We're trying to get people off the field, and we got the Prime Minister of this country running onto the field waving his scarf. Well, that is one of the most bizarre things, ladies and gentlemen, that I have ever seen.
I think he's being nice by saying bizarre. I think ridiculous, stupid, irresponsible, moronic. I believe these are the words he really wanted to say. But, you know, he's one of them public, you know, dudes. He's going to drink more than I have based on his physique after this show. But, you know, I can imagine the amount of alcohol required to keep your tongue bitten. I've been doing it for a long time myself. You know, this dude's really got to do it.
We've got a moment here to celebrate a great rugby league player, and we know that Anthony Albanese is a South Sydney supporter, but what the hell is he doing on this football field? We've said all week, don't let anyone on the field, ban them from the games and fine them $5.5 grand. And what, he wanders on as if he's some sort of martyr? So,
Give me a break.
just when we think we're calming things down, the Prime Minister walks onto the field. Well, that will officially do me, ladies and gentlemen. Look, I've made no secret of the fact I don't think he's a very good Prime Minister, but now's not the time to be talking politics. But he's attempted to make this about him.
There you go. Doesn't matter where he goes. Nobody wants him. You know, I mean, seriously. I mean, you know, where does a piece of shit like that go in the end when he's kicked out of his own fucking country? You know, Israel probably won't have him. He's trying to play the Israel card. He's trying to play the Muslim card, and he's attempting to play the hard worker who pays for all this card at the same time. You know, everybody fucking hates you because you just brown nose and you do fuck all. You are the most useless fucking cocksucking prime minister that we have ever seen. And let's face, he's not a prime minister. He's a CEO of the banking cartel's fucking luscious dreams here. He doesn't give a fuck about anyone or anything. He's a piece of shit. This guy is an absolute criminal who should be removed immediately and investigated to the nth degree. And the only reason to keep him alive is to watch him squirm as all the truth comes out. So we can finally get a little bit of justice, perhaps. A little bit of, fuck you, we've had a gutful. We want to see the guy broken the way he has broken so many people in this country, and the way he's broken so many businesses, and the way he's broken so many dreams and lives. This guy deserves to suffer for so long. He should come back as a fucking lab rat for the next 100 fucking lifetimes, easy. Maybe 1,000, million, perhaps 1 million. I don't know. How many people do you think he caused suffering to? That's how many lab rats he should be. What a piece of shit. What an absolute piece of shit. I cannot think of a lower life form in this country. Actually, I probably could. You know, it wouldn't take much, but, you know, let's face it. His job is to be the focal point of hatred, while those that stand behind him, who are pulling his little puppet strings, get to sit there in the shadows and never seen. The true cowards, the true evil, you know. But this is the standard thing, you know, getting around. Has Albo failed? And I forgot to log in to go through the comments to see how many people actually reckon he's a piece of shit. I mean, even his trans friends don't like him. They got a fucking weirdo fucking tranny shit going on, and they don't like him either. They vote Labor or don't bother following me. Fun-loving lesbian who supports nuclear energy for Australia. Wow. Okay, cool. Anyway, just a thought. So, Aussie Libertarian, the Australian dream is becoming the Aussie nightmare. Queenslanders are being hit with a soaring land valuations, in some cases by as much as 70%. Well done, you know. Queensland, you thought you were getting changed with the Liberal Party? Are you fucking retarded? My God, those people are just as bad, and they're controlled by the same fucking people. Wake the fuck up. What follows this predictable high rates and bigger tax bill is higher rates and bigger tax bills? Of course it is. How do we fund the councils that are going broke? Wow, steal more from the people. You know, don't actually get them to do their jobs properly and become a little bit more efficient and run a business the way a business should be run, because that's the thing. The council operates as a business really, really badly. It would fucking die. Any council in this country would die if they were to operate under the standards of any other business, because they're just fucking corrupt bullshit. So we have these Muppet fuckwits who are willing to sell out their own grandmothers, their own family, their own friends. They're absolute scumbags, these councillors, the lowest of low, as far as politics goes. If that's possible, let's face it, local government, state government, federal government, they're all scum, and they should all be in a jail cell. That's my personal opinion, and I think I'm going to be hard-pressed to find someone who disagrees with me. These people do not give a shit about us. They are all scum. The only people who are going to disagree are those who are on the payroll, those who have a benefit of this fucking filth maintaining itself. But as usual, the crystal full of shit government has totally shown us how much they give a fuck less about us. The Libertarian Party reckons the position is clear: index land tax thresholds to inflation, stop bracket creep, reduce the rates in the dollar, abolish land tax. I fucking agree. Why? I've already paid for it. Why am I paying for it again? And to corrupt criminals who spend it like they got fucking no idea what money is. And what's their solution when they fuck their business up? Oh, just get them to pay more. Yeah, fuck off. Where's our value for money? So who lobbied for mass immigration? Now, this is Lozzie B's opinion. Multiculturalism and diversity in Australia. Apparently, it was Jewish lobby groups, or at least people who hide behind Jewish. That's the way I look at it. I don't see them as specifically Jewish. I believe they're probably more Khazarian mafia. The vile demons who used to throw babies into volcanoes. Those kind of people. These stories are real. They're about these kinds of people who pretend to be Jewish so they can scream anti-Semitism at anybody who disagrees with them. So, Executive Council of Australian Jewry, as the peak representative body for Australian Jewry, the ECAJ, was the primary advocate for non-discriminatory immigration policy in the post-1973 era. They lobbied for multiculturalism and the removal of immigration restrictions based on race. Now, that's a whole nother topic unto itself, whether it's right or wrong. But I think we certainly had some things in place which prevented the problems we are seeing right now. Leaders in 1970 to 1980s, key leaders during this transition included Izzy Liebel, who held various senior roles in this period, and Alec Massell, who led earlier efforts to shift policy, serving as president of ECAAG. Australia, Israel and Jewish Affairs Council, formed later, but rooted in 1970 and 1980s, AIJAC became a major proponent of multiculturalism and pluralistic democracy, regarding with religious leaders, including Islamic leaders, and advocating for diversity. Now, that's fucking hilarious. I don't understand this, because here we have, for the last 50 plus years, had people of the Jewish persuasion encourage us to bring all these Muslim migrants in so that 50 years later we can blame them for all the fucking problems. That's the way I'm reading this. The Jewish Council to Combat Fascism and Anti-Semitism were more active in the 1930s. This group set to precedent for representing the left-leaning, anti-fascist and pro-multicultural voices within the community. Now watch them shift as they fund the right. Isn't it interesting? The Jewish community in Australia generally supports the move towards a more open immigration policy in the 1970s, which coincide with the rise of Soviet Jewry immigration. And let's face it, the Soviet Jewry was the ones behind the communist movement and the murder of the Tsars and the royal regime in Russia. That is truth. And according to Candace Owens, and I believe she's on the money here, millions and millions of Christians were persecuted as a result. So these people are no one's friends. I wouldn't even say that, these alleged people who hide behind the Jewish religion, as I see it, I don't believe that they're actually Jewish, of the proper Jewish people. I believe this is what the Bible calls the fake Jews that we should be prepared, be watching out for. These people are pure evil. Not that I read the Bible of the Old Testament and feel warm and fuzzy about anything that's happened there. It's a warmonger's Bible of law, it's fucking horrible. But these are not my words. This is what these mob are saying. But isn't it interesting that as soon as Charlie Kirk started speaking out about this kind of stuff, look what happened to him. Interesting, isn't it? Albanese government blocks freedom of information request on ISIS brides. Passport checks in major transparency below. So he's still trying to suck up to them. They hate him. We hate him. Jews seem to hate him. Everybody hates him. How's this guy still running the country? So the Albanese government has concealed details about how it secretly conducted passport checks for ISIS brides after having claimed the women received no assistance. What a load of shit. Lies, lies, lies. If anybody represents the Labor government as talking, they're lying, or at least distorting reality in some fashion. Oh, I thought I managed to find it. So apparently this website is now gone. JFARJ Intelligence Services. So let's go back a bit. Let's have a look in the future while that does that. Coalition crackdown on ISIS brides. So let's bring that in while I go back to that search and demonstrate how things are going missing very quickly on the internet. Perhaps this video will too. So well done for all those of you who have tuned in live, especially if you're still foolish enough to continue to use YouTube. Look, not that I love all you people watching wherever you're watching from, but I have to recommend, if you are still using YouTube, you really should come over to Rumble or something like that. Like, get away from YouTube. It is the worst. Actually, when I was creating the meme for this, the first thing I said was, a simple phrase, Israelite religion versus Islamic religion. That's a banned thing according to most AI stuff. Grok was the only one that was allowed to give me the image I wanted to do today. All the other AIs have banned it. And we are seeing all sorts of censorship coming from fucking Israel at the moment. Is fucking insane. So what was I doing? That one. I believe it's this video.
Pushing for a new criminal offence targeting those who try and help Australians linked to terror groups overseas return home. Live to Emily Saunders at Parliament House. Emily, it says more needs to be done to stop them coming back.
It does, Jane, and it comes following continued scrutiny on the government as a group of 34 so-called ISIS brides and their children try to make their way back to Australia. Ministers have repeatedly said the government isn't assisting their return, but Labor's tough stance will soon be tested. It's since been revealed by Kurdish authorities the camp this group is staying in Syria will be closing sooner than expected. The coalition has now drafted its own bill that would make it illegal for an Australian to provide assistance for people with terrorist group links from returning. But Jane, it's yet to release the details in full.
Yeah, still no details. Again, is it just smoke and mirrors bullshit? Because let's face it, they've brought in so many Muslim voters. They really don't give a shit. They really don't give a shit. So anyway, Australia's ISIS brides, let's get this back up the screen, have returned. Governments can do better at handling this situation. No shit. With the amount of controversy going on around it, they still don't give a shit. March 20th, 2026, Australia's ISIS brides have returned. This is, in 2014, the Islamic State terrorist group declared a caliphate, a form of Islamic government headed by a caliph considered to be a successor to the Prophet Muhammad. I don't know that the word prophet really works there. If you mean warmonger, then you're probably correct. But because that's the way I seen the guy. He was a warmonger, much like Yahweh. Yahweh was also a warmonger. You can see how these religions have a lot in common. This correlated with the global campaign of terror and 53,000 foreigners and 80 countries traveling to support IS, Islamic State. Domestically, there was also a surge in jihadist activity with 9 terrorist attacks and an estimated 207 Australians immigrating to Syria and Iraq to support IS. Is that all? Seriously? Well, can't we send a few more and just leave them there? That's like, seriously, if you love this shit so much, fuck off over there. It's got nothing to do with us, and nor should it. Although only about 17% of immigrants were women, their actions at the time were typically assumed to have been motivated by ignorance, coercion, or innocently following their husband's orders. The way they try to cover up for these people. Many of them ended up in Syria. Syria's internally displaced persons camps. Internally displaced persons. Is that what they call concentration camps these days? Eh? Concentration camp is now internally displaced persons. Doesn't that sound so much nicer? Like the way they fuck with words to point out they're in a concentration camp. Anyway. Now, some of these so-called ISIS brides have made their way back to Australia. Thanks, Labor. You guys are so fucking useless. And of course, what would they breed more terrorists? Fuck no, of course not. What kind of craziness is that? Arriving in Victoria after smuggling themselves out of one of Syria's IDP camps. So they've smuggled themselves out of a concentration camp, and Australia takes them in. Thanks, guys. The group was detained in Lebanon before passing security checks. They were detained in Lebanon and passed security checks after breaking out of a Syrian fucking displacement camp, being issued Australian passports. Wow. Well done. The Albanese government has said it did not formally assist in repatriating this cohort. Controversy, government scrutiny, and a Senate estimates hearing have ensued in the process. It has reignited political debate over the nature of the women's return and the security threat posed by jihadi brides. I think these kinds of people in general, myself, like, let's face it. When Israel created itself with the assistance of the Brits under the Balfour Declaration, they started this shit, and it's never going to end. World War I started this shit, but let's face it, it's been going on for a lot longer. This is going all the way back to the creation of this stuff. This is thousands of years, and these people are not going to fucking stop. They will not stop. It's their mandate. It's their fucking religion. That's what they fucking believe. They believe that they are doing the right thing. Hitler thought he was doing the right thing. Albo, I can only assume he thinks he's doing the right thing, but these people have no fucking idea. They don't give a fuck about what anybody else thinks. It's about what they want and what they think. These are all selfish little children. Every last fucking one of them. Anyway. So, Victorian government to pay businesses $125 million over COVID lockdown failures. Well done. The Allen government has agreed to pay $125 million to settle class action brought by thousands of businesses devastated by hotel quarantine failures. Now, who's the real winner here? The lawyers. Did justice get what it get done? No. Did anybody get to see these fucking quibbling assholes actually have to explain themselves? No. This is not a criminal justice system. It is a criminal system. That's what it is. And we are seeing it on display here, where they can throw $125 million of taxpayer dollars at businesses. Wow. Again, a lot of people should have gotten on board on this in Victoria, I think. They owe a lot more than that. It's a tax refund for these people, but everybody else who didn't get in on that action, that's a big tax bill. That's it. He's been such a good person, and he's helped humanity so much. He's got a $4 million house. Yep, exactly right, Harps. Exactly right. Early indications were that the case listed as Fire of Victoria, but the barrister represented the businesses shattered. I love the way they're happy to say that businesses are shattered after the hotel quarantine 6 years later. Finally, told Justice Andrew Wilson the number was actually 125 million inclusive of costs. And costs don't really cover costs. So, these people never really got the full money that they deserved. They just gone, look, this is the quick and easy path. We don't want this to drag it out. It's the Labor government. They'll use lawfare. You'll all be dead, buried, and broke before you ever see any real justice if this goes to court. If only the people there had gone, you know what? Fuck this. We want to destroy the Labor government, and who cares what it costs to make sure that government is dead, buried, and turned to ash. That should have been their primary goal. But let's face it. We all know what the Bible says about lawyers. In the terms of the businesses settled with the state were confidential, but that he was pleased to inform the court that the parties had reached an agreement. It's understood the 125 million sum includes the business's legal costs, estimated to be about 30% of the total. So it's close to 30 million. The class action launched to, actually more than that, but anyway, you get the idea. Had 16,500 Victorian businesses registered for compensation after COVID-19 spread from the state's failed hotel quarantine program. Again, did it? That's just a desperate attempt to cover the fact that, oh, there really was a COVID crisis. Bullshit. However, it's understood not all businesses were classified as eligible. The trial, which was almost 6 years in the making, was due to begin on March 10th. Isn't that? Oh, dodged a bullet there. They dodged a bullet, but the law firm representing the businesses confirmed the mass settlement was agreed to on the eve of the trial. Really pushing the envelope, weren't they? Fucking dogs. Domanian Scatani, partner at law firm Quinn Emanuel Eckhart and Sullivan, said the 125 million settlement was the conclusion of the years of hard-fought litigation. This is a significant outcome for eligible businesses. Is it? How much? Now, as I understand it, they could probably only take about half of that. And considering they spent 6 years and it sounds like a big law firm, how many of those millions went to the lawyers who probably did, a bit of work? I appreciate the effort that they probably put in. I'm sure the people who got something out of it probably did, but it doesn't really tell us how many businesses. Anyway, it's a joke, but it keeps getting better. The eye-watering 40 million legal bill the Victorian government has set up to slap taxpayers with for defending botched COVID hotel quarantine. This keeps getting better. That was on the 16th today. On the 20th, no, that's the 16th as well. Interesting, So which is it, 40 or are they two different cases? The Victorian government is prepared to spend 40 million of taxpayer money on legal fees to defend the state's botched COVID. No, it's the same thing. So they're talking about the 40 million. They're separating the 40 million for costs. I'm worried about the entire 125. So yeah, the Daily Mail isn't really putting this together properly. Very poor journalism in that regard. But even more interesting things, 4,551 science publications, overlapping presentation of long COVID and prosecute COVID and vaccination syndrome, 4,551 scientific publications produced to show that the COVID-19 vaccines are very bad. Very, very bad. React 19. Anybody want to go through and actually read that? Go for your fucking life. I'm going to post that there. I'm going to chuck it in Telegram for those as well who want to see it there. Wonderful bit of reading for you all. Too much for us to go into in one particular podcast. I mean, I could make a whole podcast just out of this. It's ridiculous. I'd have to spend ages reading. And I'm really not interested in that right now, because we already know what it's going to say. COVID-19 vaccine is deadly. It's poison, and it should never have been put onto people in any way, shape, or form. To continue that point, autopsy study finds 100% of published myocarditis deaths followed COVID-19 vaccination were caused by the vaccine. All of them, 100%. Not a fucking. They didn't even no fucking around here. Straight up, it was the vaccine. Our autopsy study. So this dude here, Nicholas Hulschuer, MPF, epidemiologist and administrator at the McCullen Foundation. All right, so you might know something, perhaps. Our autopsy study finds 100% of published myocarditis deaths followed COVID-19 vaccination were caused by the vaccine. An immediate FDA Class 1 recall is required. It is unlawful to recommend products that cause death without disclosing documented fatal risks. I mean, again, it's unlawful to give you a product that causes death if we didn't tell you it might kill you. Let that sink in. Basically what he's saying, it's okay to sell a death jab so long as you tell people it'll kill them. Is that what we're saying here? Is that where we're going? Well, what the fuck? Seriously, it makes no sense. But anyway, speaking of things that make no sense, John Cleese, we all know, knowing this. Now this is regards to the guy who, we did this a little while ago. Good old Keir Starmer's Britain have police handcuffing a man in his home for simply sharing social media posts. It wasn't even his post. He shared somebody else's post and got arrested for it. So wonderful things. By the way, make sure you share this shit because I need friends in jail, all right? Knowing this man was arrested for the most trivial and ludicrous reasons has made me anxious that something is this unreasonable might happen to me, says John Cleese. So I would like to see an arrest of the arresting officer for causing me this unbearable anxiety. You can't fucking argue with that kind of logic. You know, he's a comedian, but I'm not laughing. All right, CIA declassification of documents. Now, of course, when it comes to the declassification of documents, the big question is, why was it classified in the first place? The human body is made of liquid crystal, it says. Now, there is a video which I should have acquired, which I might do. You know, before we go any further, let's just bring something else in to deal with this while I deal with something else. So let's bring it back to Australia for a little bit. Here's Celine versus Bowen. Celine versus the machine, as we know her as.
Australia is going through a teeny tiny bit of a fuel crisis at the moment. And basically, if you don't understand what that means, it means that if we as a country, Australia, run out of fuel, we are fucked. But don't worry. The clown show in Canberra has it all under control. And they've been giving us some really sound advice.
Well, as I've said, what we want is Australians to buy as much fuel as they need, not more, not less. That is the best answer for everyone. And if Australians respond in the spirit of all coming together and not panic buying, then that maximises our chances of getting through this situation. People going to Bunnings and buying out all the Bunnings jerry cans, that is unhelpful. That is un-Australian.
Oh, geez. So by definition, anything that involves going to Bunnings is quintessentially Australian to start off with. Secondly, they are really hammering home this term of panic buying. People are panic buying. Do you know why people are panic buying? Because they don't trust you. They don't trust the government to look after them in any kind of crisis. And I don't blame them. It's the typical response of left-wing governments and left-wing people in general. Number one, it's not happening. Number two, okay, it might be happening. Number three, okay, it's happening. But here's why it's a good thing. And number four, if you don't like it, you're the problem. Like, how can you set up a fuel supply crisis task force if there isn't a fuel supply issue? Or better yet, you can be like Tim Ayres here and suggest that the whole thing is just a right-wing conspiracy theory. I've said it before and I've said it again. This Labor government is a joke. They do not care about this country. They do not care about the people. They just care about votes. As for the solution, I'm not too sure about that either. But at the bare minimum, these guys have got to go.
Pretty hard to disagree with her there. Look, I'm struggling to get the video that goes along with this particular thing, so we'll just have to go with what's written here, I guess. CIA declassify. You know, for anybody who wants to watch it, I will post it in the fucking description here, and of course on Telegram for those who want to watch it. CIA declassified documents. The shocking truth revealed by CIA declassified documents. The human body is made of liquid crystal, capable of extraordinary powers like biofields and superconductivity. This article explores the profound implications of this discovery, including the possibility of interdimensional beings using liquid crystal technology to infiltrate our world. Wonder what they put in the fucking vaccines, anyone? Prepare for a deep dive into the mysteries of human existence and the spiritual battle that lies ahead. The hidden truth, the human body as a liquid crystal. The human body has long been a subject of fascination, mystery, and wonder. For centuries, scientists and philosophers alike have tried to decode the enigma that is our physical form. But what if I told you that the human body isn't just a biological entity made of flesh and bones, but what if our bodies are in fact composed of something much more intriguing, something that challenges our very understanding of life itself? Welcome to the world where science meets the surreal, where the human body is made of liquid crystal, a concept so profound that it shakes the very foundation of our reality. Is that why they kept it from us this long? Or was it the fact that they've actually been using that to their advantage? Because let's face it, the CIA is a big part of the cabal's network of control. These are, you know, cunts in authority, as I like to call them. The CIA declassified documents recently declassified documents from the CIA have unveiled the startling truth that was once hidden in the shadows of secrecy. According to these documents, the human body is not just a complex network of cells and tissues, but is in fact made of liquid crystal. This isn't a mere metaphor. It's a scientifically backed revelation with staggering implications. The document titled The Magic Crystal by Sergeev delves into the concept of a human body being a liquid crystal and explores the extraordinary capabilities that this composition bestows upon us. So the science behind liquid crystal, much more than just a theory. Liquid crystals are a state of matter that has properties between those of conventional liquids and solid crystals. They can flow like a liquid, but have the ordered structure of a crystal. The idea that the human body could be made of such a substance may sound like science fiction, but it's rooted in actual scientific research. In the declassified document, Sergeev explains that the brain and indeed the entire human body is composed of liquid crystal. The crystalline structure is not rigid, it is dynamic, allowing for the movement of elements within it. This dynamism is key to understanding how the human body can produce extraordinary effects such as biofields and even superconductivity. So there's quite a few videos to go along with this, obviously. So superconductivity and biofields. One of the most mind-boggling aspects of this revelation is the idea that the human body is capable of creating superconductivity. Now, anybody ever seen the static electricity thing? My daughter zaps me in the fucking trolley all the fucking time. Something about the trolley wheels and those fucking floors just generates static electricity. It's been doing it for a long fucking time. I don't know if that happens to anybody else, but it certainly happens to me. Which means that they can transmit energy with perfect efficiency. So we can transmit energy. Welcome to telepathy. Welcome to empathy, something that the evil fuckers seem to have no concept of. Or perhaps they thrive upon it because rather than being empathetic to people, they are sucking that evil. Is that why they want everybody so miserable, depressed, and angry and pissed off all the time? Because they feed on that. This is the kind of sick fuckerdry the shadow people are all about. And I've come across some very interesting things lately, personally observed things as well, as far as, you know, a lot of psychic attacks and all sorts of weird shit like that, you know, and a lot of the old techniques I used to use to stop those sort of things happening seem to be struggling at the moment because they're in a state of desperation. So what I was informed was to throw as much positivity, light, and love at these fucking things. And amazingly, they don't seem to withstand it very well because what they're trying to do is feed on your fear and anxiety and stuff. So if you find yourself lying in bed at night, you know, feeling like everything's fucked and it's attacking you, it's because there's some sort of a fucking psychic vampire trying to fucking suck your energy. So just throw light and love at it and it goes away. Just thought I'd put that out there in case somebody else is feeling the same shit I've been feeling lately. Anyway, biofields are not a new concept. They have been studied in various cultures and medical practices for centuries, thousands of fucking years. You know, it's been put into real earthbound religions, not this monotheistic cage, which I'm not saying there isn't a one-all creator or something to that effect, the universe, for example. You know, what I am saying is that these fucking religions, these vile keepers of the truth who know this shit and have you submit to, well, please pray on my food. I can't eat it unless you give a good blessing. You know, are you that fucking retarded? Seriously, like, these people are just control. Anyway, you get the idea. Religion is evil. Documents suggest that some individuals can control these biofields at will, using them to influence objects or even other beings. This ability is akin to creating a space tunnel or an electromagnetic phenomenon, something that seems more at home in a science fiction novel than in real life. Why did the CIA stop you from knowing this then? And why, more importantly, are they telling us now? Are there people within the industry that are sensing the shift? Who knows? With the understanding that the human body is made of liquid crystal, we must ask ourselves, could this technology be used to mimic the human form? That is an interesting one. Mimic the human form. Enter the NPC. The implications are both fascinating and terrifying. If liquid crystal structures can be manipulated to create biofields and superconductivity, it is possible that this technology could be used to create a perfect human replica. cloning. Imagine a world where the line between human and machine is blurred. AI, where liquid crystal technology is used to create beings that look, feel, and act like humans. Ever seen Blade Runner? But something entirely different. This leads us to a disturbing question. Are we sometimes witnessing this mask or technology slip? Are we sometimes witnessing this mask or technology slip? How many of our fucking piece of shit elected dictators are somehow subject to this? Could the strange, unexplainable phenomenon we sometimes encounter be the result of this technology failing? Infiltration by interdimensional beings. All right. Now, this is definitely right up my alley. Probably going a bit far for some people, but hold on. You may find something that you can connect with here. As we delve deeper into the rabbit hole, a darker theory emerges. If the human body is made of liquid crystal and this substance can be used to mimic human form, could it be that we have been infiltrated by interdimensional beings using this technology? Now, notice I used a dark little form in the picture to start this podcast, standing behind Yahoo Serious. The concept of demons walking among us, hidden behind a facade of human flesh, suddenly seems less far-fetched. And now, I know people like David Icke have said things like reptilians, but shapeshifters, again, those of us who have watched Star Trek can see the Deep Space Nine, I think, was one of the best of the stories because it really showed what a shapeshifter could do, the kind of havoc that can be created and the way they infiltrate fucking everything. And when you look at how absolutely everything in this society has been infiltrated by horrible, dark beings, and you see cunts like fucking Mark Zuckerberg, and you look in those eyes, and those eyes are like dead. They're so fucking black. That's a dead eye fucking motherfucker if ever I've seen one. You have to wonder. The concept of demons walking among us, hidden behind a facade of human flesh, suddenly seems less far-fetched. These beings using liquid crystal technology could take on our form, blending seamlessly into our society, or even just fucking, jumping in. I've even seen it in some of the more positive kind of spiritual lines where sometimes, a human host will actually happily step out while something else steps in, which is fundamentally the concept of channeling. But on a world player stage, it's even been suggested, I think one of them that's popping into my head, that Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln may have been one of those people who knew what had to come, but didn't have the strength in his human body himself to do it. So he stepped out and let something else positive step in. Did the same kind of thing happen with something like, say, Jesus? Did something else step in? When we talk about these immaculate conceptions and these kind of concepts, which are seen both in Old and New Testament, is this what is really going on? They could influence events. Wow. Like start wars and shit. Manipulate individuals. Make fuckwits walk out onto the footy field as if they gave a fuck about anyone. And steer humanity in directions we cannot begin to comprehend, like never-ending fucking wars. This is not just the battle of flesh and blood. This is a spiritual war, one that most of us are ill-prepared to fight, probably because we've been deceived on so many fucking levels and so many people continuously give their power away to some fuckwit priest or another, whatever stupid fucking term you want to put to somebody who's telling you that they're better than you and that they have a more direct line to God. You've got to be shitting me. Righto. Sips, ladies and gentlemen. Most people are not ready to face the reality that we are engaged in a spiritual battle of this magnitude. The mainstream media, governments, and even some scientific communities dismiss such ideas as conspiracy theories or ravings of the paranoid. But what if the truth is stranger than fiction? What if the signs are all around us, hidden in plain sight? And good old DARPA. Do we really need to even see the video? Fucking DARPA. Is that a picture or is it actually a video? No, it's a PNG. It is just a picture of it. So anyway, CIA's declassified document is just one piece of the puzzle. Over the years, there have been numerous reports, sightings, and accounts that suggest something otherworldly is at play. From strange lights in the sky to unexplainable phenomena in our daily lives, the evidence is mounting, yet it is often dismissed, ridiculed, or buried under a mountain of skepticism. But as more and more information comes to light, it's becoming harder to ignore the possibilities that we are not alone and that those who walk among us may not be what they seem. The human body, with its liquid crystal composition, could be the key to understanding how these beings operate and how we can protect ourselves from their influence. And that's the big one. So, you know, when we really bring this into the big cosmic scheme of things, you know, so what's all this shit been about? All this fucking lies, all this manipulation, all this darkness. You know, it's been put to me that perhaps all these little evil fucking shape-shifting, body-snatching pieces of human, extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional pieces of shit are there to try and give us the nudge we need. Because apparently we'd all just sit around, drink piss, and have a good time. What a horrible fucking concept. Could you imagine a beautiful planet where everybody's getting fucked up and having a good time? You know, realizing that all the seed-bearing plants and herbs were put here for us to use. All we need to do is just, you know, enjoy and, you know, not piss each other off. It's not hard. I believe a lot of cultures were doing that quite successfully until some asshole come along and fucked with it. Sips. But has it all just been a proving ground? Now, here's a really fucked up idea that really fucked people up. All right. So, for those of you who've watched Star Trek, I'm just going to bring this down a bit. Those of you who've watched a bit of Star Trek, you're probably aware of the Orion Syndicate, you know, which are generally perceived as the kind of bad guys sort of thing. You know, they're the slavers, you know, and all that sort of stuff, you know, much like Gamorrean guards in Star Wars. There's also the concept that these things perhaps are very based around Saturn. What's the religion that loves Saturn the most? Judaism. You know, they Saturday, Sabbath, Saturn's day, just putting these things into context. You know, what if these little evil assholes were put here just to push us in the right direction, to teach you what evil looks like, so that you will learn to protect yourselves from it? As I understand it, the planet's been under quarantine for quite some time. But if you go back to the old stories, you can see they were openly coming in here and fucking with us, literally. You know, the Nephilim and all these things coming down to mate with more mortal women, you know, or the, you know, the children of Adam, as they say, you know. And what exactly is Adam? Possibly a genetic blueprint, you know. I mean, is it really the name of a person, or is it the name of a concept? We're all just printed out like a fucking, you know, a game of Sims, for lack of a better concept, and then just run free and see what we can do. And the gods sit there and they manipulate this and they push that. You know, we got a Yahweh doing this, we got some other fucking Yahoo doing this over here, and all these other fucking gods. You know, why was God so adamant that you have to worship just Yahweh? Why was Yahweh so fucking important? You know, and why were there were obviously so many other gods, and why were worshiping them so bad instead of him? Suggests there's a lot more going on here than we've ever been told. And the idea of a monotheistic religion based on a religion where a god insists that is better than the other gods demonstrates that there's more than other gods, especially when he's gone to a meeting of other gods. So we're certainly being deceived on a great many levels, but told the truth at the same time. There is an inevitable scenario here at play where they show you exactly what's going on. The question is, are you the kind of fuckwit who sees the truth and refuses to accept it? That's the big thing, you know. And for thousands and thousands of years, most people have just gone, I like my fantasy. I think I'll stay there. It's a lot easier to process the world when I don't believe in the truth. That's the theme for the day, ladies and gentlemen. So shall we continue? As we move forward, it's crucial that we keep an open mind and continue to explore the mysteries of our existence. The idea that the human body is made of liquid crystal and is not just a scientific curiosity, it is a revelation that could change the way we see ourselves and the world around us. We must all ask ourselves, are we ready to face the truth? And that's the big one. Are you ready to face the truth, ladies and gentlemen? Personally, I'm sick of waiting for everybody to catch the fuck up. I hope your answer is yes. And I hope they're going to encourage other people to give the answer of yes, because I am done waiting for morons to catch the fuck up, you know. And it's like, you know, listening to Bobcat Goldthwait, you know, with Joe Rogan. He got sick of fucking doing comedy and being the fucking fucked up voice because he got sick of playing to the dumbest cunt in the fucking room. you know, a lot of the ways the character I've developed here for your entertainment purposes, Batty Bogan, is very much playing to the dumbest cunt in the fucking room. That's why I speak the way I do. That's why I act the way I do. That's why I have a beer with you and carry on the way I do, is to try and get you on some sort of fucking Aussie straight up level, you know, that you're used to. When you go to work, this is the kind of fucking yahoo you're going to hear. He's going to say this, he's going to say that, he's going to swear a lot, he's going to go down in the pub, carry on like a dickhead. That's what you're used to seeing. So therefore, I display that information in a manner in which you may actually listen to. Steps. I can play any character you want. It's not hard. Question is, what are you going to listen to? Are we prepared to acknowledge that our word is far more complex, or our world, sorry, but our word is also far more complex, because word spelling, cast spells, and this is where you start to see these concepts coming through. It's hard using written vernacular, but we'll do what we can. It's far more complex and mysterious than we ever imagined. The spiritual battle is real and the stakes are higher than ever. But with knowledge comes power, and with power comes the ability to fight back. So hoping they weren't about to say, with great power comes great responsibility. This is not Spider-Man. Fuck off. The discovery that the human body is made of liquid crystal opens up a world of possibilities and a world of dangers. This revelation is not just about understanding our physical form. It's about recognizing the hidden forces at play in our lives. And that is the most important thing, the hidden forces, you know, which are observably so, because just like the example of the black hole I gave earlier, we can see that they are doing something. We may not be able to see the fucking darkness itself, or the entity of darkness residing in the darkness, the shadow people. Hey, Babylon 5. If you want to watch a TV series that is very prophetic and really shows you a good understanding of this concept in a TV series sort of thing, Babylon 5. It's only 5 seasons and 5 movies. I highly recommend it to everybody. I remember sitting there watching it during COVID 1984 going, fuck hell. Every time I watch this, it gets more and more fucking real. You know, we are living in the time of great change, where the boundaries between science, spirituality, and the supernatural are becoming increasingly blurred, because there is no line. There is no boundary. These concepts all exist together. And this is the compartmentalization of your mind at play, where they've taken that subject's science, that subject's maths, that subject's music, that subject's art, and they've got to put everything into a little pigeonhole and dissect it and cut it up, put it in a fucking jar with the average moronic mentality of a monkey. So it's been really hard living fucking on this planet, I tell you. It's fucking horrible. But anyway, it's time to take this knowledge seriously, to prepare ourselves for the battles ahead, and to protect ourselves from the forces that seek to control and manipulate us. The liquid crystal that makes up our bodies is a powerful tool, one that can be used for both good and evil, just like anything else. Much like AI can be good or evil. It is a fucking tool. I have a hammer. Am I going to smash your face with it, or am I going to build a house? One way we're making a death metal fucking album cover, which is art, I guess, from a certain point of view. You know, the other, I'm putting a roof over your head so you can listen to it. The choice is ours. Will you use it to empower ourselves or others, or will we allow it to be used against? You know, and I know that you know, there's a couple of people here like Harps that actually understood what I just said about the art of Hammer Smashed Face, Cannibal Corpse, in case you were wondering. Yes, it is a song. Hammer Smashed Face by Cannibal Corpse. Apparently one of Jim Carrey's favorite songs, by the way. Go and watch Pet Detective, and you'll see him dancing like this through a fucking mosh pit, and that is Hammer Smashed Face. Anyway, the choice is ours. Will we use it to empower ourselves or others, or will we allow it to be used against us? And this is where the get off your fucking knees moments comes in. Wake the fuck up and realize the power that you are and what you are capable of. It's time to start focusing the mind, the body, and the soul and get this shit right. The time to act is now. Hey, look, it's not just me saying it. The truth is out there. Yep, we heard that in X-Files, waiting to be discovered. Well, I believe we kind of already have. The question is, will you accept it? But it's up to us to seek it out, to question everything we think we know. As I've always said, question everything. How much time do you really think on your own? How much of those thoughts in your head were put there by somebody or something else? break yourself back down. If I was 2 years old, how would I see this? And that is one of the miracles of having children. One of the miracles they want to deny people. They want you to stop having children so that you don't see your own childhood reflected in the eyes of your own child. Wake the fuck up. I really do feel sorry for everybody who's denied themselves that. And to stand strong in the face of the unknown. This is not just a battle for our bodies. It is a battle for our souls. As I've said, it's not just bodies or souls. It's the mind-body-soul complex, mind-body-spirit complex, as it's better known. And we must be ready. Now, it's time to start waking up, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that is a pretty good way to leave this fucking podcast. With a big dose of fucking fuck you truth, a big dose of how the hell it goes. What the hell else have I got stashed in here? I might have brought in just for shits and giggles. So a little bit more about, so these ones have got to go in as a little bit of an ending point. So you can see a little bit more about the evil that has precipitated everything.
In 1990, when you began those efforts, it's actually amazing in Ukraine. The new Ukrainian government, the new Ukrainian leadership, everyone who I know in that group has been touched somehow by open society and by Georgia, like literally. Either people personally got a scholarship or someone, their wife got a scholarship. It's a really remarkable thing.
Well, this is
when she says touched personally, and she was about to say by George Soros, but she kind of dodged that one. But how much actual touching was going on, eh?
For me, quite an experience to see this, and I didn't realize actually how big an effect it has had over a 25-year period, because those were students. 25 years later, they were leaders.
Yeah, nothing like a little bit of throwing money bags at the right kind of people to get them to go where you want them, hey? Guided spirituality. Guided. Yep. I bet they have been touched again. I agree, Ups. They were probably touched in all sorts of ways because you've got to make sure you can control them. Welcome to Epstein Island. Anyway.
The conspiracy of the past 10 years seems to be proven true the more we dig into the Epstein files. Tonight, we're taking a look at the issue of Ukrainian biolabs, labs that we were told repeatedly over the past few years did not exist. They were nothing more than a Russia-funded conspiracy theory. For years, anyone who questioned government-connected biological research, biolabs, throughout Ukraine, studying viruses or diseases, or research into underground genetics projects, was brushed off as a crazy person. See, I was one of those people. Here's part of some of those reports from 4 years ago.
New and exclusive information about the Ukraine biolab story that some media and politicians are still pretending don't exist. And now we have brand new information you're not going to see anywhere else because it's being scrubbed from the internet. Not only do we have new insight into what was inside of those labs, but also new information about the people working there, being given diplomatic immunity. And not only that, but that people living around some of those labs over the past decade have become sick with cholera and even swine flu. Plus, do these labs have anything to do with the overthrow of the Ukrainian government in 2014? When he was a Burisma executive and his father was vice president, Hunter Biden's company, Rosemont Seneca, invested $500,000 into a San Francisco-based pathogen research company called Metabiota. I was actually one of the first reporters in the country to tell this story back in 2021. Hunter Biden introduced Metabiota to Burisma officials to negotiate the establishment of biolabs in Ukraine. During this time, Metabiota also received $24 million in funding from the Department of Defense, which included money for Ukrainian research projects. Although the U.S. government and its cheerleaders in the media screamed that the existence of U.S. biolabs in Ukraine were a Russian fabrication and conspiracy theories, the Pentagon and other U.S. government officials later admitted to the fact that 46 peaceful Ukrainian laboratories exist in the country.
Tonight, the Epstein emails are once again proving that things that we had previously been told were conspiracies were not. They were happening. And once again, they were worse than we had previously thought. So much worse. Look at this. Emails show Epstein was heavily involved in Ukrainian biolabs, discussing do-it-yourself genetic experiments, including embryo implantation, sperm modification, and so-called biohacking with scientists. Now, consider what we're seeing here. These experiments include sperm modification, like modified to do what? We don't know. What was Epstein and his donors trying to create? See, there's another email that gives us maybe some insight into that. These detail plans for a proposed designer baby project, outlining funding needs and development strategies. The goal here, according to the email, to move from small-scale garage biology to the first live birth of a genetically designed human, or even a human clone, within just 5 years. Again, why is this happening? And specifically, why was it happening in Ukraine? Well, actually, that part's easy, because this kind of research is inhumane, it is unethical, and most importantly, it's illegal in the United States and most Western countries, which is why all of this was happening in special places like Ukraine, where this could happen, but it was also happening under a huge cloud of secrecy, which is why another email explains the need for secrecy. Read this one. Emails discuss whether financial backers would only participate if they were guaranteed that they could remain totally anonymous, fearing public exposure and massive reputational damage. So now the question, was Epstein simply running a criminal pedophile network? Clearly not. He was also pursuing radical human genetic experiments with global implications. And if these projects were real, and they certainly were, where would they happen? Remember this statement under oath 4 years ago from then Undersecretary of State Victoria Nuland.
Does Ukraine have chemical or biological weapons?
Ukraine has biological research facilities, which, in fact, we are now quite concerned Russian troops, Russian forces may be seeking this classic Russian technique to blame on the other guy what they're planning to do themselves.
Again, at that time, questions about secret biolab activity were quickly dismissed as Russian disinformation. But now, in the light of Epstein's documented interest in genetic experimentation and his clear use of biolabs in Ukraine to carry it out, this is not a conspiracy anymore.
There you go. Not a conspiracy anymore. No. Let's get the words just again.
At that time, questions about secret biolab activity were quickly dismissed as Russian disinformation. But now, in the light of Epstein's documented interest in genetic experimentation and his clear use of biolabs in Ukraine to carry it out, this is not a conspiracy anymore. Almost every so-called...
Again, I think what he means to say is this is not a conspiracy theory anymore. It is actually a conspiracy. They conspired to do this shit. That's the truth. It pisses me off when people get that fucking word wrong. You know, like they fucking knew damn well what they were doing. They have been conspiring. And why Ukraine? Because that's where the Khazarian mafia are from. That's where they were originally told by the Russians, pick a religion and stop being satanic fucking pedophiles, you sick fucks. Well, they picked a religion and they continued being sadistic sick fucks. Which religion do they pick?
Yes.
Okay, included the skin?
Yes.
Kidney?
Yes.
Spleen? The lung of the fetuses?
Yes.
Okay, included the skin?
Yes.
Kidney?
Yes.
Spleen?
Yes.
Heart?
Yes.
And this was just one study. So I'm going to ask you again. In your entire career, how many fetuses have you worked with?
Well, I don't remember the exact number, but quite a few when we were studying them originally, before we decided to use them to make vaccines.
Do you have any sense? I mean, this one study had 76. How many other studies did you have that you used aborted fetuses for?
Oh, I don't remember how many.
You're aware? Are you aware that one of the objections to vaccination by the plaintiff in this case is the inclusion of aborted fetal tissue in the development of vaccines and the fact that it's actually part of the ingredients of vaccines?
This is the level of sick that these people are. They are that sick. But hey, it's okay. You can inject it in yourself and you'll be safe this winter.
So tragic that the flu shots are believed to be, people line up. They give them to 60%,
Right.
60 to 7, upwards of like 70% of elderly people get the flu shot every year. And it kills off a portion of them on day zero. It's got a day zero kill record. It's in the Medicare data. And nobody's saying a damn thing about this. They're all assuming that these vaccines are safe and effective, and that that's not the case at all. Which
No, they're not safe and effective. They're filled with fucking satanic baby parts. Like this is fucked up. We really are living in one of the sickest fucking worlds you could possibly imagine. And the only way that humanity has managed to survive through this is the illusion that it's not. Now that is the biggest crime of humanity, where everybody turns a blind eye to what's really going on, the absolute sickness of it all. This shit must end. The evil must be stopped at all costs. And you now understand a little bit more about who you are. So now you can do something about it. Sips, ladies and gentlemen. This will be my last beer for the evening because it's all I can afford. I don't make any money out of this shit. Virtually fuck all. Thanks to people like Jake Soy, for instance, who have helped out. Big thanks to Harps, who had us on his metal show. Harps, you want to drop a link? Actually, I should be able to find one myself. I should get your AM show up. You probably get it to it faster than I will. The AM Wake Up, I think it is, on Rumble. Jumped in there this week. Had a bit of a yarn with the fellas. I hope you like your heavy metal. Even my fucking tastes were tested there. I don't know. Maybe I've got the wrong thing. Harps, I'm going to leave it to you. You can share that one. Throw it in the comments. I had a copy of it somewhere. I don't know where I ended up now. That's right. You gave it to me in the private message while we're on there. Sorry. Bad me. Nazi Germany 2.0. I don't know that even the Nazis were that bad. I think you find what the Japanese were doing was even more fucked up. At least that's the perception that we're given. What the Nazis and the Japanese doing on either side of the world, was that the beginning of all this sort of shit? I don't know about that one. I think those guys have just been given the scapegoat route. I have a feeling that other people were onto it too. And as always, the biggest question I always tell people to ask when I start going on about Nazi Germany and Hitler and that is go and ask, well, what did the Nazis find? And if their quest for the Aryan race was all about fucking, white skin, blue eyes, and blonde hair, why were they in Tibet? Why were they in India looking for the Aryan race? What did they find? An even bigger question, what the fuck's so important about the South Pole out to tie that up and make sure nobody's allowed to go or even look unless properly ordained? Is it really just about resources? Or if it is resources, is it the kind of resources you're used to thinking about now that you understand a little bit more about how the world works? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. It was fun putting it out. I hope I've managed to piss all the evil dictating pieces of human filth or, clones or whatever the hell demonic fuckwit forces they are. May you all rot. And may all us wonderful beings of light find peace and make this world a better place, because I've had enough.